Hi, this is Kalyan Karmakar speaking to you from Bandra in Mumbai on what's a fairly sunny afternoon. And I have one of my cats, my younger cat Nimki, sleeping by me over there. And my elder cat, Baby Loaf, is sleeping in the other room, though he comes in occasionally to say hi. So good to see folks joining in, including some from Kolkata, because today I'm going to speak to you about a place in Calcutta. So this is a part of my series which is called Foodocracy India, and good to see friends joining in. We've got Dipali from Delhi. Let's Hunt for Food, and so many other folks. So hopefully more people will joining in. Hi, Dipali. We've got someone who's Bong Mallu in Bombay. Okay, so this is a part of my Foodocracy India series where I speak about eateries across the country which are very well loved. And the idea is to talk a bit about one's personal memories over there, and at times a bit about history and what to eat over there. I might or might not be responding to comments in between, but I'll try to address them at the end. So today I'm going to take you to Kolkata while sitting in Mumbai to a place called Onadi Cabin. Kolkata is the city which I've grown up in, and then I moved out to Mumbai in 97, 98 when I started my career in market research. And then I started food blogging in 2007. I have a blog called Finally Chopped, where I've written about Anadi Cabin. And then 2012, 13 is when I got into like freelance food writing, and started off with my book, The Traveling Belly, where I've not written about Anadi Cabin, but maybe next time around. So, why am I talking about Anadi Cabin today? Well, let me tell you what happened. Let me give you a bit of a backstory. So, during the lockdown, we started cooking mutton or goat meat a fair bit again in our house, because in the beginning, in the lockdown, one could only get vegetables and chicken. Fish was out because one had to go to the market and one was not going there till in August when Poonam and Khar Fish Market started delivering home. But then there was someone from Worli who would come and deliver mutton every Sunday in Bandra, and we'd order from him. And then later places like Joseph's and Jude's and all that started supplying mutton, and we'd do that, and we'd cook a lot of kosher mangsho and a pulao and a mangsho jhol, and occasionally my wife Kanaz would make the Parsi dhan saag or the gambar no gosh, and so on. We are a Bengali Parsi household. And the last two or three times when we've bought mutton from some of the people we bought mutton from earlier, I was a bit unhappy with it because I was getting too many bony pieces. I mean, bones are fine, and bones are what gives taste to mangsho or mutton, but it was just getting to be a bit too bony. And I once sort of commented on that on social media. And then my friend Kurush Talal, also known as Carboholic, came to the rescue, and he said that he has found a very good mutton supplier at New Bombay, where he is staying currently, and he had promised to buy some mutton and send it to me. And then suddenly one day, Kurush and Ria drove down from there, and they were coming for lunch at Sifa, which we're all very fond of. And they came in their little nano, which is like a wraparound around Kurush and Ria. And they came to our building. I went down. All of us were wearing our masks. They rolled down the window, and I came back with 3 packs of mutton, which was frozen, kept in the fridge. Guru said keep overnight when you want to cook it. We did one. We did so with one packet last night, and this afternoon our cook Banu, she made the safed pulao which she makes with mutton. So I'm going to have that for dinner, and for Kanas, we got kosher mangsho made, and I gave her the recipes and the masala, and I kept checking it in between while Banu cooked it. So we slow cooked it, so we didn't make it in the pressure cooker. So Kenaz is going to have that for dinner. I'm going to have the mutton pulao, and I'm going to have a bit of the rice on the pulao and the kosher mangsho for lunch. So Kurush Zalal, if you're listening, thank you so much for that. The mutton looks pretty good. Now, what does kosher mangsho have to do with Onadi? In fact, people who know Onadi Cabin would know that it's actually famous for the Mughlai paratha. What is a Mughlai paratha? What is the kosher mangsho? What is a cabin restaurant? Hold on, I'll tell you all of that. I'll tell you all of that. And unless, of course, you go to my blog, Finally Chout, where I've written about Anadi, I've written about Mughlai Paratha, and I've written about cabin restaurants in my column in NDTV Food. But if you want to just sit back and listen like an evening adda, then we can do that now. So I can see the Koshamangsho king of Kolkata joining in on Indo. He's handled his picture nama. He and Madhushi run that. And during the lockdown, he's been cooking his Koshamangsho. And I believe it's become quite the home chef hit with tons and tons of people ordering it. Actually, Koshamangsho is one of the first dishes which I started cooking at home in Mumbai when we would invite folks home when we first had a house which was big enough to have more than two people at one go at home, because that's Mumbai for you. And I got my recipe from the internet, and I would cook it on the pressure cooker. Traditionalists would tell you that kosher mangsha has to be slow cooked and with no tomatoes and stuff like that. So that's what we did today, and in mustard oil. So we've done a slow cooked kosher mangsha, and but we put in some potatoes, because what's mangsha without aloo? And then it's mustard oil, and it's slow cooked and all of that. Now, what does that have to do with Onati, which is famous for Mughlai paratha? Just hold on. Now, before that, let me tell you that if people tell you that kosher mangsho is a traditional home cooked dish in Mumbai, in Bengal, in Bengalis, and therefore it's there in a Bengali restaurant or a home chef, they might be taking you for a bit of a ride. So, the traditional mutton preparation in Bengali houses, which used to be made on Sundays, still is perhaps, is the patla mangsho jhol. So it's a runny mutton curry, a bit like the Goshnu Ras of the Parsis. And that's my friend FC Boy joining in from Kerala. And yeah, so we've had a discussion in Kosher Mangsho. So Mangsho Jhol is what's made at home. So it's mutton with potatoes and in a sort of a runny curry with not too much of spices. And the dominant flavor is that of turmeric. So it's slightly yellowish looking. And the tradition is that the man of the house would go to the local mutton shop, not all those apps and stuff back then, and would stand there, and all the the kakus and the jethus and the dadas, all the men of the the mohalla or the para would be standing there with the Sunday newspaper, waiting patiently for the butcher to cut the patha or the mutton, goat meat, and then get it, and it would be put in sal leaves, and then the man of the family would come back. I don't know whether it's sexist or whatever, but they would hand it over to the woman of the house, and who would then make the mangsha jhol and rice, and you would have that, and then listen to the the Bibid Bharati programs for the natoks and stuff. Okay, let me do a couple of quick answers. So someone asked me whether it's meant to be is mangsha jhol a bit dry or gravy like? So Aaron, mangsha jhol is gravy. Kosher mangsho is dryish. Shuchishmita Chandra is also saying that Gandharaj Lebu adds a lot of flavor to it. So kosher mangsho, on the other hand, is not so much of a home cooked dish. You would get it in weddings, and which is where one had it, and that's why I would make it at home for my friends, because it's a bit of a special occasion dish, and also at the cabin restaurants. In fact, one of the most famous places for kosher mangsho in Kolkata is a place called Golbari in Shambazar. I've not eaten there. With all these institutions, people have their point of view of, it's not the same as what it used to be and all of that. Well, I mean, one doesn't know about that, but it's Golbari is going strong, and which is why you'll find many home chefs and restaurants having dishes called Golbari kosher mangsho. It's like saying Kareem ke kofte or Kareem ka korma or whatever, but those are not really. But then, what does kosher mangsho have to do with Onadi, which is famous, as any Calcuttan will tell you, for its Mughlai paratha? Let me tell you what's a Mughlai paratha first. Mughlai paratha is basically a square-shaped paratha made with maida in Bengal, and it's sort of stuffed with a bit of mincemeat and things like that, and then egg coated in egg and deep fried, deep fried actually, and it's served with a aloo tarkari, which is a potato runny curry, and the potato skin has to be there. That's what makes it really perfect. and again it's more cabin restaurant dish. It's not a street food dish. So Lebel Ajaz saying kosha mangsh and Mughlai paratha is classic Kolkata street food. I don't know. It's not street food really. It's more these cabin restaurants or these small Mughlai restaurants, but it's not street food. Gino Joseph's a Malayali raised in Kolkata loves kosha mangsha and the Sunday tradition. But that's what Calcutta does. It sort of subsumes you and consumes you, regardless of which part of the world or the country you are in. So everyone in Calcutta, whichever part of India they are in, they speak very good Bengali. Unlike in Maharashtra or Bombay, where you can get away by speaking Hindi and English. Okay, yeah. So Mughlai paratha is actually this continuum which you can get in various places. So my friend Konishko, whose wife Monishita is originally from Dhaka in Bangladesh, and they actually play a part in this story. So Konishka told me that in Dhaka, the Mughlai paratha is even more deep fried, and it's actually a street food dish, unlike in Calcutta, where it's a corner restaurant dish. It's similar in a sense to the martabak which you get in Malaysia, which you sometimes have with fish curries and so on. So it's similar to that, and then in Mumbai it's called baida roti. In Surat it's called anda paratha. It's quite a big tradition over there in Surat, and then I also believe that you get it in Burma where it's called palata, or so I've been told. So Singapore, Malaysia, Burma. Burma, Kolkata, Dhaka, Mumbai. It's all united by the tradition of the Mughlai paratha, whether you call it baida roti, Mughlai paratha, anda paratha, or martabak, palata, but it's all united by that tradition. Why Mughlai paratha? No one really has a clear answer to that. My friend Peter Sen, who's also a food researcher and historian, she tells me that probably, and it's her hypothesis, that to make anything sell, back in the day in Kolkata, if one added the prefix Mughlai to it, as in from the Mughals, it would just make the food dish seem more royal and sexy, and therefore perhaps they called it Mughlai paratha. Now, coming back to Anadi, and if you guys have joined me to hear about Anadi and you've been wondering what's happening, don't worry, I'm going to talk to you about Anadi. And this is part of my Foodocracy India series where I speak about eateries across the country, street food joints, family joints, legacy joints. And Anadi is a legacy joint because I was reading in the getbengal.com site, and Anadi cabin was actually established in 1925 or something, which makes it about it's about 94 years old, right? It was established in 1925 by a gentleman called Balaram Jana, and then his youngest son was his name was Anadi, and he unfortunately passed away to pneumonia. So Mr. Balaram Jana then therefore named the restaurant or eatery Anadi after the son. And I believe, according again to the getbengal.com website, is being run by the third generation of family. Gino Joseph, is mincemeat traditionally part of the Mughlai paratha? Yes, it is. It actually has to be there, but often street side places might skimp on that to make it more economical. So Anadi is close to 100 years old. It's 94 years old. It's in SN Banerjee Road. It's in one of the lanes around Esplanade in Calcutta. I think if you go a bit ahead, you might reach Elite Cinema and so on, where there's also Armenia, which is very famous for its biryani, the Mughlai restaurant. Close by is also Nizam, which is said to be the place where rolls were invented. But for me, my favorite place now for rolls is Badshah in Newmarket, and the mutton roll without eggs. Okay, so Anadi is a cabin restaurant. So what's a cabin restaurant? Basically, cabin restaurants are these eateries which came up in Calcutta, and they would have cabins. It was there, even similar things were there even in Mumbai and Delhi and so on. So what are cabins? These are like little partitions which were created by small curtains and so on. And the idea then was that India at that time was still quite a closed society, and women would not really come out in public. So in places like these cabin restaurants, and I believe even Mumbai and so on have been having it, and Delhi, the women of the family could also come to the cabin restaurant. So I don't know whether it's Anindo or Madhushi of Picture Nama. I'm assuming it's Anindo, who's being judged for ordering mutton roll with eggs. Yes, I judge you too. I mean, you either have egg rolls or you have mutton rolls. Don't mix the two. You're better off having a veg roll than mixing the two. Yes, so this is Anindo of the Kosha Mangsho fame in the chat over there. So we of course pull each other's legs. Now, so the idea of these cabin restaurants was where women could come and sit. So even the Irani cafes of Mumbai had cabins like this where people would come with families. And I also read somewhere while doing research for my NDTV food article sometime back that there was this entire theater culture in Calcutta where, upper to middle income families would go out to watch theaters, and then they would go to the cabin restaurants, in places like Bhawanipur and so on, for dinner. So, or after watching the latest Uttam Kumar flick back in the day. Hmm. So, and then the cabin restaurants were this thing. Then, of course, by the 60s or 70s, and definitely when I was in college, which was after 60s and 70s, it became a sort of lover's den. And then I believe it degenerated to a place for women of the night to get their friends over. And a lot of those cabins were removed. So if you go to Anadi now, there are no cabins. I don't do lives that often, so I'd forgotten that one has to sort of go on airplane mode. So there are these people calling me up. I don't know whom they are. Okay, my friend Ijaz Mirza is saying that direct me to the best role place in Dubai or Sharjah. I'm afraid I do not know that. Yes, so but if anyone does, Dubai, Sharjah, maybe I'll ask my cousin Smita if she does. Okay, Anindo, more or less from the same generation as me, says that cabin was for Prem. So Prem is of course love. The last time I was in a cabin, I was with it was a cabin in Armenia with Konishko. So I don't know how much Prem was happening there, more of bromance. But it started off as a family place, then for Prem or love affairs, and maybe the seeds of future families. And then later it became a place for women of the night to go with their friends. And with that, most of the cabins were removed. I think I've gone to Anadi before I left Calcutta in 97, and had the Mughlai paratha there. And then in subsequent trips, and I keep going back to Calcutta, like in pre-pandemic times, I'd go anything between, 3-4 times at least a year to the city. But I've never gone back and eaten at Anadi. So then what happened in one trip, maybe 2 or 3 years back, I'd gone to visit my grandmom and stay with her for a few days because she didn't have a maid or house help then, and it was like a really treasured memory of mine. Yes, so Labeleja is saying that Labelegia is saying, remembering mother treating me with Mughlai parathas for passing the exams. Yes, Mughlai paratha was like an ultimate treat, just one level below biryani. So maybe you didn't do that well in your exams. Otherwise, you would have got a biryani. But yeah, Mughlai paratha is quite the ultimate treat. So Kanishko, his wife, and Manishita and we met a couple of our other friends from Calcutta, Rukhsana and Suneha, and we went and had breakfast at Flurys. I'm like a probashi, so I go by nostalgia. And then Rukhsana and Suneha went off to work, and I then asked Konishka and Monishita if they had any plans, and I said that should we go to the Anadi cabins. So Konishka said, okay, why not? Okay, before that, I quickly want to answer. Okay, Anindo saying that there's still cabins in Chungwa, the famous Chinese restaurant near ABP office in Prafulla Sharkar Road. I've gone there during my college days for a drink and whatever. And I regret having something. When I was in college, there used to be in Chungwa a section called Pigeon. So there used to be dishes based on pigeon back then, but I was not so adventurous, so I didn't have it then. Cravings, Renuka saying Pumpis and Dubai has very good rolls and baida rotis, just like Baremia. Okay, now Ijaz is also saying a good Mughlai paratha will most likely already have eggs, so no more reason to not mix. So even more reason to not mix egg with mutton. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. So let me go back to that day 2 or 3 years back in Calcutta where we had a full meal at Flurys. You know, Konishko and all, Rukshanava's adventures went for the eggs Benedict. I stick to, basic stuffs, which is baked beans, green chili, and onion at Flurys. You shouldn't experiment too much at Flurys. Just stick to the basics. You'll be fine and soak in the atmosphere. And that's what you're paying for. So then I told Konishka and Monishita that you guys want to go to Anadi. So Konishka was always game. So he said, why not? And then we went off to Esplanade. And we were at Anadi at around, 1:30 ish. So we went there, and we see that the shop is open, and the karigars or the cooks are getting things ready. So they're making the little dough balls for the parathas. They're getting the eggs ready, and firing up the wok on a flat tawa in which the parathas are going to be made and things like that. So we said that can we go and sit? So they said no, restaurant is not open. All this of course in Bangla. So I said when does it open? So I think they said 1:30 and it was like 1:20. So I said can we sit? Well, this is Bengal. In Bengal, like rules are sacrosanct, not the customer. So they said no. So you had to wait. So we made it, Konishko, Monishita, and I. And then come 1:30, suddenly the place got packed. So I mean, we were like the sort of interlopers, but all the regulars went and sat in. So what did we order? I mean, the first thing to order was, of course, the Mughlai paratha. Now there are people like again my friend Pita, whom I was talking of earlier, and others who feel that Anadi doesn't really have the same quality as before. I really can't speak about that because I remember once going there in the late 1990s, but I don't remember much about that. So I don't know how good or bad before was. But let me tell you that the Mughlai paratha, which Konishko and I shared with some aloo tarkari on the side, was pretty good. I mean, it was fried nice and well. It was crunchy, but it was not overtly oily or overtly crunchy. The paratha was flaky, had a nice bite to it. The flavors of the eggs and the meats. Sometimes Mughlai parathas can become too thick. Nothing like that. This had this little bit of fluffiness to it, and then they cut them into squares. Or I'm not sure if they cut them into squares, but we did because someone was this Labeleja was talking about. Sorry, that's a strange handle. Was talking about her mom giving her or his mom giving him treats when they did good in exams. So when you go with elders as a kid for Mughlai paratha, they would always cut it into squares so that you could eat it with a knife and fork. So I insisted that Konishka do it for me because he's elder to me. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just building the story as I'm talking. But we sat down and the requisite aloo jhol was there and with the skin on the potato and that crunchy Mughlai paratha and with the aloo jhol and the salad of onion, carrot, beetroot, cucumber. Ooh. But that is when we made a discovery. It's Anadi is known for his Mughlai paratha, whether good, bad, ugly, same as before, not. I don't know. We had good Mughlai parathas that day. But Manishita, Kanishka's wife, I think she avoids eggs or doesn't eat eggs or whatever. So we were wondering what to do, and suddenly Kanishka saw kosha mangsho. So we ordered kosha mangsho and paratha for her. So Anati does the traditional, cabin style of kosha mangsho with no aloo or whatever, and it's the thing about kosha mangsho, the slow cooked mutton dish, is that it's the base of the dish is like the onions and the caramelized onions in it, and then the mutton which has been rendered to tultule softness by a fair bit of slow cooking, but it should not have too much of curry or in it. But I see a lot of restaurants or caterers now doing kosha mangsho with curry in it, and technically kosha mangsho means slow cooked. So I mean, you can have curry, you can't. But I think that's a commercial trick because the thing is that when you put kosha mangsho on your plate, then it doesn't look that substantial because there's just mutton pieces and the onions being rendered into a paste. So when you're also putting in some curry, so it looks like you've got more stuff on your plate. But not so in they have no such worries in the cabin, so they take out these small bone china plates, put the kosha mangsho in that, and with that we had some maida parathas, lacha parathas similar to the Malabar parathas of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Ceylon. So we had our Mughlai paratha. Monishita was having our kosha mangsho, And then she said, it's good, so you boys should try it. So we did. And then, being boys, we did what boys do. Because that kosha mangsho at Anadi was killer. It was so good. The meat was tultule, which is Bengali word for soft and tender and juicy. And the flavoring was just right. It looked dark brown, it looked fiery, but at the same time, it was not overwhelming in spice. And I'm someone who can't handle too much of jhal or tikha or chili hot. But yet I enjoyed it. And this paratha, because of maida, has this inherent sweetness of its own. So when you're having the hot paratha with this kosha mangsho and taking it a bite, it was heaven. So we finished our Mughlai paratha by then, Kanishka and this thing, but we kept taking more of the kosha mangsha and paratha from Monishada's plate. And she had this boys will be boys look on her face and let us eat that. And I must say that it seemed like time was frozen that afternoon in SM Banerjee Road, and we then crossed over to a mishti shop to have rasgullas and kochuris and shingaras. Yeah. When we go there and when you're on a trip, and when I go back to Calcutta, I try to make each meal count, and for me it's a lot of nostalgia. But to answer your question, or questions which people have, I like that Mughlai paratha which we had at Anadi, and Konishko agrees, and if and I would go by his reaction and mine. So I don't know whether it was good and better in the past or whatever, but like they say in Buddhism, it's all about treasuring the present. But that kosha mangsho, it's the hidden treasure of Anadi, the kosha mangsho and the paratha. So that's what you have to go. And to give you an idea, it's a small place. There are 4 or 5 tables, marble top, chairs or benches, and you have to share places. So probably better to go there after you've had both your vaccines and the incubation period and all that. And you still need to wear your mask so that you don't transmit it. But the idea of Foodocracy India is that to talk about places like this, which are enduring, and all these been there for 94 years. So it's gone through the Second World War, the partition, the Bangladesh War, Liberation War. It's Anandi Kamin has seen many things and taken them in their stride, and I'm sure he's going to take this COVID pandemic in his stride and emerge stronger. But I would strongly recommend to all of you right now that just hold on, be patient. I see places where people are meeting and gathering and meeting friends, and you're not even wearing masks. But the thing is, I'm getting so many news of like people getting COVID while at shoots, or when they're meeting up with colleagues after a while, again getting COVID and stuff like that. So just be on guard, just be a bit patient, and if you need any sort of validation that patience is worth it, then you will get that in the kosha mangsho at Anadi, because that can happen only from slow cooking. You can't hurry things up. So today, when my cook Banu was making the kosha mangsho, and I gave her the masalas, and told her how many onions, and I kept checking it in between, she was very tempted to put it in the pressure cooker. Acha ek to seeti deta. I said nahi. I said you go, but I'm going to let it see it till the end, because some things need to be given time. And in about 6 years, Anadi will be celebrating the century. So hopefully that time, that year, one will go there and have a great meal. And until then, best wishes to the family, the third generation which is running it. And don't listen to too much to people who say it was better, worse, all that. We went and had a fabulous Mughlai paratha at Anadi that afternoon, and we had an even more fabulous, memorable kosha mangsho and paratha. So that, my friends, is the Anadi story from Kolkata, the part of Foodocracy India. And I hope you enjoyed it. And please share this, because I just put this on my channels on social media. It's all organic. And I would really like you like it if you share it, because stories like Anadi's and the family that runs it needs to be shared and needs to be celebrated, and that'll happen if you share it. So this is Kalyan signing off. I think I've answered most questions or comments there, and thank you so much for joining. Stay safe, and if you do go to Anadi and have a Moglai paratha or the kosha mangsha and the paratha, then do remember me, yeah, and have a bite for me. Okay, take care. Bye.